Good afternoon. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Athens City Planning Commission for November 1st, 2007. Unfortunately, we do not have a quorum because there are only 2 of us present, and you have to have 3 to conduct any business. But since weren't able to get the word out to everybody, we thought if you had something that you wanted to say or present, we'll go ahead and do it, and we'll be in the minutes, and we can ask questions and that, and then share them with it. We have to have 3 people, and 2 people are out of town, and we found that our 1 member is in the hospital, and so there isn't anything we can do about it. Our only case that I have here, there's another one that Steve thought was supposed to be on here. The case that I have is 0710, and it's a minor subdivision with a variance in what is it, Alexander? Where is this? Alexander Township, but where in? Okay, all right. There's 50, okay. Since people have come here in regard to this case, I thought if you would want to go ahead and make a statement, that's fine, and we can ask questions and that if you'd like to do that. We can't vote on it because there are not enough of us. So, did you want to make any comment on it?
Well, if you have any questions, if the commission has any questions, then I'm here to
Yeah,
address
okay.
those questions.
Okay. I don't have my thing. This is the first I've seen the map, so this is a question of dividing one track into 2, and it's not, there's a right-of-way that private ingress and egress, is that right?
Yes.
Where did, it comes off Fisher Road. Let me see where this is on Fisher.
If you'd like, I can give you a brief explanation.
Yeah, is this one we've had before?
No.
No, okay. Go ahead.
No. My name's Steve Pearson. I'm the Director of Code Enforcement for the City of Athens, Ohio. Mr. Behe, the surveyor for this particular project, is here today to answer any questions. This information was provided in my office a couple weeks ago, and because the proposed split fronted on a private easement rather than public road frontage, public road frontage being a requirement of Athens City Code Subdivision Regulations, Section 210304E2, a variance was necessary. You should have a packet of information that has my cover letter on it with a little explanation. The parent parcel, or the existing parcel right now, is a little over 46 acres, and proposals for a split of just over 16 acres with a residual then of around, I believe it's 33 acres. You have a copy of the applicable code section with your packet. You have the deed, the survey work and the legal description with proposed deed language for both proposed parcels. Both deeds include reference to the easement, and also contained in both of them, in addition to the 50-foot private ingress-egress right-of-way easement, is a maintenance agreement. So the 2 criteria that normally would be approved outside the 3-mile area and in the Regional Planning Commission's jurisdiction, these are actually approvable as major subdivisions and, without need for variance, but because they allow up to 4 splits off of a private drive, so long as the width of the easement is correct, access to one lot being 30 feet or more, 2 or more lots, 2, 3, and 4 being 50 feet. And then they have a requirement for a maintenance agreement also. So all the information that's provided exactly duplicates that information that is necessary to be provided anywhere in the county. It's just that the process that the city uses and the process that the county uses are just a little bit different, because you are permitted to split off private driveways outside the 3-mile planning jurisdiction.
Okay. Is this plan to have just one building on each of these, or do they want to do eventually go down?
I've not been to the site. Mr. Behe might be able to help. I believe there is one structure there now and a proposal to build a second if the split's approved.
There is an existing residential dwelling on the remainder acreage, and there will be a new residential dwelling built upon the 16 acres.
Okay, so it's just one on each one?
Correct.
You're not looking to go, oh, yeah, I see that.
There is no intention to make it a multi-lot subdivision. And even if that were to occur at some point in the future, they would have to.
Come back, yeah. But this is, right now, this is not what they're after. Yeah.
Actually, Dr. Clark and his wife are selling this piece to his daughter, who's moving back here.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't see any problems with it.
I don't see any problems with it either. The problem is that it doesn't matter if we don't see anything, there's not enough of us to vote, but it, I don't,
Yeah, it looks pretty straightforward, so I
Yeah.
don't think there'll be any big
I just
issues.
wanted to be here in case there were any
well,
concerns. When would this then be able to be acted upon
That-
officially so that we can continue
Then-
down the lengthy road?
the next meeting is, well, it's the 15th. It's we first and third Thursdays we meet, so it would be the 15th.
15th.
Yeah. And I mean, I would try as best as I can to make sure that I don't know about the one person who's in the hospital, but I think we should be able to have at least one more person by then.
Mayor should be back on.
Then, yeah, that we just need one more person here to do this, so.
And it has to be done in a regular meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
But as we say, we don't think there's not going to be any reason why there'd be a problem with it. The other thing that you gave us is not here. I never can fold things up. I never can fold maps up. This was, you thought was going to be on there, but it isn't, but you can tell us, okay. This goes with that stuff, I think.
Again, my name's Steve Pearson. I'm Director of Code Enforcement Zoning Administrator for the City of Athens. There is a request to construct a building and occupy that building with a use on West State Street that is not permitted by the zoning code. The area in question is on West State Street, just beyond University Commons, on the way out to the service garage and the water treatment plant. On the left-hand side, there's a row of houses right there. That area, though, is zoned B1, neighborhood business. That's the zoning designation for those properties. There was a proposal to purchase a vacant lot, which is basically just across the street from the Innovation Center. And right before the little alley that takes you back into the backside of Athens, Athens Mini Storage, I believe it's called.
Midtown, it says on
Yeah.
here.
A couple pages down in there, what I tried to do was take a tax plat of the area and show
Yeah.
you the existing zoning designations right there. It's M zone across the street at Ohio University's property. It's actually M zone right behind it also, from lands that used to be the railroad right through there, and then the fairgrounds is right there real close. There's an R3 zone fairly close right there too. That's University Commons, planned unit development. And then that one little stretch right through there is zoned B1 neighborhood business. This is one of those areas the Planning Commission looked at several years ago,
Yeah.
trying to decide what to do with all the different B1s in town, because neighborhood business was, although I was going to say it's a thing of the past, it has actually
Come
kind of
back.
revived itself in some neighborhoods.
In some neighborhoods, but not in others. What kind of business is this?
Well, the request is to install a construction workshop, and hopefully in that set of
There's a
things
drawing.
that you have, there's some
yeah.
drawings that illustrate the size of the building and the type of equipment that will be housed there. And as I recall, there are table saws, miter saws, routers, drill presses, dust collection centers, planers, joiners, and band saws.
Sounds noisy to me. Is it noisy?
The zoning code doesn't permit building trade shops until the B3 zone, and you should have that in your
It's
packet
in
of
the
information also.
second part of the pack. Yeah, it's in here somewhere.
This type of activity is first permitted in the B3 zone under 230407A7, building trades, printing and related trades. And it also requires a separation distance of 100 feet from any R1 zone or R2 zone. There is no distance separation from any other zones. I just say that because, primarily the use in that area is residential, although it's zoned for a light business. In order for the Board of Zoning Appeals to consider a variance of this type, it's necessary for the Planning Commission to review it first and make recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And you should have in your packet of information Athens City Code 2307-12, Business and Manufacturing Variances. It's on a page that says 2323 on the bottom of it. Halfway down on the right-hand column.
We have to.
And it says requests for variances of business or manufacturing uses shall be forwarded to the City Planning Commission for their review. The Commission's review shall consist of the proposed use in terms of the objectives and recommendations of the City Comprehensive Plan. The Commission shall submit their review to the Board of Zoning Appeals within 30 days. I tried to find some things in the comprehensive plan related to that particular part of town or things that might be part of the objectives or recommendations of the plan. I've yet to be able to find anything that specifically addresses it. But I just wanted to point that out because that's the criteria on which your judgment's based.
Well, of course, this was put in here prior to the plan we have right now, so.
Right.
Could have been the last plan. Okay.
So, in anticipation of a possible decision or a recommendation by the Commission today, I had scheduled it for the Zoning Board meeting next Tuesday, but that won't be able to occur now because you won't be able to take a vote. But at least we've got it in process, and you're aware of it now, and it can be scheduled then for the next Board of Zoning Appeals meeting in November.
Okay. All of these lots here have houses on them? How many did you say were on?
I believe this is the only vacant lot. There might be one other vacant lot down through there, but generally the use through there is the same as R1 single-family residential. Tab's Taxi used to be located down there, and their dispatch office and vehicle storage facilities were in a structure a little further down the street.
Yeah.
For the biggest part, it's used as residential right now.
The last time I was down there, I didn't get much past Athens Gardens and the other place. I was on a field trip there.
Once you go past University Commons on the left-hand side, there's a large Columbia Gas, I don't know what you'd call it exactly, valve station, metering station, and then a Mrs. Dodson owns a house.
Yeah, I know.
Then there's a vacant lot. Then there's a large two-story structure and a little alley then that creates the access back to Athens Mini Storage.
Well, I can go down and take a look to see. Did you, is there anybody else here? Did you come to talk to do the?
I'm Matthew Cook.
Okay, why don't we let him say, and then
Sure.
we can ask you again, Steve, okay, in a minute? You want to come up and identify yourself and tell us a little bit? You understand that we can't take any action today.
My name is Matthew Cook. I am co-owner of Stalwart Construction, LLC. We're interested in putting a small workshop on this lot, primarily because we like the location. We are a small construction company in Athens. We primarily do remodels and additions on people's homes. And from time to time, probably 3 to 4 times a year, we're asked for permission. We're asked to build cabinets for kitchens, things like that. Sometimes a dining table or something like that, just in connection with things we're already doing in other folks' houses. The other use for the shop would be to store equipment and materials that we currently store at my residence and my business partner's residence. It's not intended to be a high production shop. But there will be some amount of construction work done there, and some of that is noisy. The idea is to build a structure that's not just a pole barn or a metal structure, but something that would be relatively attractive, that would kind of serve as a showcase for our work as well. So the proposed design is actually designed more or less as a two-story home-shaped structure. It fits in the line of buildings at that point. And we understand, because of the noise, that we'd need to take some, steps to make sure that the noise is not offensive to those around us. Part of the reason we pursued the lot in the first place is because we felt like the B1, we didn't understand very well the B1 zoning.
Not many people do.
And the neighborhood as it is kind of split in terms of what's business related, with the city garage down there, and the storage unit, and the innovation center belonging to the university. So we weren't really sure if it would be okay for us to put it there or not, but we're not, we've sort of pursued things with the realtor and also with the lender, just so things are in order in case the approval does go through. But we're obviously waiting for approval from the city to do anything. In terms of noise issues, there are a number of ways to deal with the noise issues. Soundproofing and insulation. A few years ago, I built a recording studio in Athens, and that has the opposite requirements, meaning that no noise can get in. So the same procedures would occur in a workshop, in order to prevent the noise from escaping.
Out.
So I think it's possible. It's not going to be a 24-hour thing. We have a normal business schedule Monday through Friday like everyone else's, and so it would mostly be working hours that we'd be involved there at all. So.
How many people would you have working there?
Well, it kind of depends on the route we proceed with the shop. Part of it, one of our ideas was to make it a cooperative and actually invite members of the community to, up to 4, to join and rent it along with us. So in that case, it would be our business plus up to 4 people. But I guess our opinion about that is we'll go with what's allowed by the city. If that city says, no, that's not okay, then we won't do that. A number of our employees are capable of making cabinetry and furniture. So, but there could, a month could go by feasibly where nothing happens in the shop, because we won't have any work that requires it. In that case, we'd just be, getting materials from there, storing things there, things like that. So.
Do you have big pieces of equipment you would have there parked there, like big trucks or things? I don't know what you build.
The biggest machinery we own are pickup trucks.
Pickup trucks?
We have 2 pickup trucks that belong to our business, and they could conceivably be parked there, but we don't own any heavy equipment. All our excavating is done by other folks when
Okay.
So no large machinery.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, how about, like lacquers or finishing materials or paints? Those kinds of things?
Well, we're not going to have a spray booth or anything like that where we'd, do heavy production in terms of finishing, but, every cabinet requires finish.
Right.
So there'll be something like that, but, minimal to zero spraying. Most of that's brush finish work anyway. So, most of the furniture we build, tends to be a wiping finish, anymore. They're mostly all water-based. But there's no dipping tanks or, high chemical anything that would be involved in the process at all. So.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to ask him?
I don't think so at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Did you have anything else, Steve? Okay.
Just a couple other things I'd like to note. If this ultimately is permitted, the development's right on the edge of the special flood hazard area, so there's some additional permitting that will be required under Title 25 that there's no proposal for right now. That survey work, elevation work is yet to be done, but there will have to be, ultimately, if approved, compliance with Title 25. In addition, I'd like to point out to you, too, that there's a proposal just to leave the parking as gravel as opposed to pavement. 4 or more cars, parking for 4 or more cars requires paving and drainage, and it also requires landscaping. So again, this is early on in the process. There's no, there's no presentation now for how the parking area will be landscaped in accordance with, I believe it's Title 39 is the landscape ordinance, maybe 37, but. 4 more, parking for 4 more cars has to be paved.
Paved.
So that would be an additional variance that they would they'd be
Not to pave it.
required to obtain right to leave it in gravel.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anything else?
I believe that's all.
Do you know why this was left? I don't go back that far in history. Do you know why this was designated as a B1 in between 2 Ms and an R3?
Well,
And since maybe I'm missing history here, maybe there were pre-existing businesses here, but right now they're all
Well-
residential.
there were, well, of course, the University Commons, a railroad, there's a railroad that went through there, but this was always housing down here, but when you went up State Street, in towards town, there was a mixture of it, and I don't know, I did not live here when they did the zoning, but what really happened was they drew the lines to suit people who lived in the area, and obviously there was somebody who was thinking of either had a business there or wanted to put some kind of a little business in there.
Yeah.
Like Miller's Poultry is, well, where is it?
It's
Up
down-
further.
yeah, it's further up that
But
way.
there were, and across the way there was another thing, and when they ripped down some of these other buildings, all those B1s were drawn to suit somebody who owned the property there or had some business there. It was not, and back in the early days of the community, of course, there were stores. People didn't have cars, so neighborhoods you see them around town, you see the little
Right.
that were stores. And that was just my interpretation, is that they drew the line to suit the people who were living there then and came in and worked on the whole thing. And we've tried to get rid of them. Well, the most recent one, but it's been tried before. We tried several times to go through all these B1s and move them, to change them, to make them more match where they are a little bit
More
better.
sensible.
More
Yeah.
sensible.
Yeah.
But we didn't get very far.
My recollection of the zoning map for 1960, when 1960 was the year the city of Athens adopted a zoning
Yeah.
code, is that always those maps have reflected back to a B1 zone in this area. In 1960, as you mentioned, these properties had a railroad line in their backyard, essentially. Across the street, the Innovation Center wasn't there, or the
No,
Corrosive Research
McBee's
Testing
was there.
Lab. McBee's was there, so you had, and that's why that zoning probably across the street is M for manufacturing.
Well, and I
So
think
there
that
were-
one lady, didn't she have a beauty, she moved her beauty parlor down there too? I think out of their houses, some of the people had these things, they were operated out of their houses. They used to have in those B1 things that people would have a little store front inside their living room or an ice cream shop, and so that's how a lot of those things got into.
Right.
I mean,
And it
I'm
may-
not sure about that. I think that one woman did have that down there, but I did not live here in 1960, so I have no idea what went through their minds. I lived here before that, but I was a student and I didn't pay any attention. to what
It may
they
have
were
been
doing.
too, I'm not sure what the maximum number of people were that were employed at McBee's or on the building up on the corner.
Well,
but-
there were 2 McBee plants there, so there were quite a few people. They had a lot of people working for them.
Right. So it may have been that, the development anticipated in the area was to service both the west side residential neighborhood and people, working in this, at that time, really a manufacturing area. So the B1 district probably really made sense in 1960. Place to eat, that kind of.
So it was intended to, I'm reading into that too, that was intended to promote the neighborhood business in that area for whatever reason.
Right, and then it didn't develop that way.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't bad planning, it's just the plan didn't turn out the way they thought it would. So,
Okay. The other thing, I've lost the thing. Did we have any communications that we could deal with other than what we've already had? Our next meeting is November 15th. I don't have any other business unless somebody else has other business. You didn't bring other business? You're slipping. You thought you'd bring a stack of other business like that. Does anybody wish to speak who hasn't spoken? No? We don't have any minutes? We can't vote on them anyway. No. I'm going to have to go back to work. Could we think of
Me
something?
too.
Could we think of something else to do? Well, we can adjourn, I think. It's 2:58, so we can adjourn.
I'll so move.
Okay.